a weekend, another one of those. Tiger football, back in the polls. 25th in the coaches, that's respect. 27th in the AP, moving up. Tigers hoops in Huntsville tonight to take on Alabama, a team that would scare the heck out of you. The Bulls in town to take on the Grizzlies. They're 2-1. They had a lot of fun at their home opener on Saturday. Place was rocking and rolling. We are underway with the overlap. Football, basketball. We got the World Series tonight. We got medals. But first, we have to be honest. We have to take our medicine. We've been brilliant with picking. Brilliant. Till this week. I was 1-4. Oh, my gosh. And before that, I had been brilliant. Before that, I was 22-8. Not anymore. But if you think 1-4 is bad, it's pretty hard to lose every game. Pretty hard. Brian Dacus, who's avoiding eye contact with me, pretending he's working on his computer. Brian Dacus, 0-5? Is that right?
You know, Dave, sometimes it happens. You just got to get it out of your system. You let it happen once. You know, Dave, very new, me and you picking together. So, I just had to get it out of my system.
Are you
let
saying
it happen.
You were intimidated by me?
No. Not in the slightest,
that's what
Dave.
It kind of sounded like to me a little bit.
No. It's just you're always gonna have a bad week. You might as well just go 0-5, get it out of the way, and then you'll be good. It's like one of those early, pregame jitters. You just got to get that bad possession out, and then you're good the rest of the way. So I got that bad possession out, and we're just gonna be knocking down threes.
So you're saying you triple bogeyed the second hole.
Bingo.
And now you're going to try to recover. Well,
yes.
Look, in our particular contest, I'm 9-6, you're 8-7. You're still over 500.
How about that?
You'd be ahead of the game.
How about that?
But I hope we don't see another offer. My goodness.
No, I hope not as well.
That was pretty tough. Speaking of tough, so I had the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat personally this week with the great, it's going to get a medal, the Tiger comeback. They fall behind. They were down 7-0 early, and then they were down 28-24 in that football game, and they marched down in 49 seconds. And there is a historic pitch and catch, Hannigan to Rock Taylor. Rock Taylor he's kind of struggled this season. Double teams, drop balls that you wouldn't normally see, in the clutch when you had to have it. The Tigers actually answered a 36-second drive that Charlotte thought had won the game with their own 49-second drive, and Rock Taylor catches the 91st touchdown thrown by Seth Hannigan. So Hannigan, his 30th win, is the winningest player in the history of the school, and now he's thrown one more touchdown pass, the most in school history, one more than Brady White. So that was kind of cool. It becomes the game winner. Then yesterday, I watched my Chicago Bears about to steal a victory when their last two possessions, they actually had an offense that kind of looked good. And all of a sudden, Caleb Williams looked like a guy who'd won a Heisman Trophy against the other guy who won a Heisman Trophy, Jaden Daniels. In their matchup, I think Daniels wins. And part of it is because he throws on the last play of the game with zeros on the clock, a Hail Mary. Just so there's some perspective, this has happened before. Since 2006 in the NFL, there have been 6 Hail Marys, which is, in those kinds of circumstances, I guess about right. What is that? We're talking 18 years, 6 times, so one every 3 years. But it was miserable, and we'll get to that in Russ. And that's what we do. We have medals as I sit in the Family Leisure Studios. So you can still save thousands. We're on the 28th of October. Ladies and gentlemen, Get there, because I don't know if this spa sale where you can get in-stock spas for under $2,900, you can get cold plunges for under $4,000, you can get the big, huge swim spas starting at $17,499 with special financing available. But how much longer can this huge spa sale last? Only Lindsay knows. She's the owner. Go see Billy. He's right by the door. Tell him you want to cash in on the spa sale at Family Leisure. On Mondays, we give out medals, and I've got plenty. I'm going to start with a bronze to a very obscure name that you wouldn't be thinking about at all. Jaden Hardaway.
Ah, yes, old Jaden Hardaway.
Jaden Hardaway was picked 56th overall.
How about that?
In the G League draft.
Good for him.
He was selected by the Capital City Go-Go. Do you know who the coach of the Capital City Go-Go is?
I have no clue. Who's the coach?
This is why he got picked, I think. And I think he's got a shot to make the team because it was Cody Toppert.
Oh, wow.
Who picked him.
Wow. You know, there's Memphis Tiger controversy in the past with the Capital City Go-Go's. You familiar with this beef between the Tigers and the Go-Go's? I guess we have to squash this beef.
You've got me now. I don't know.
And I don't remember which one it was. I think it was maybe Admiral Schofield when he had just gotten into the NBA and was playing with the Go-Go's a little bit. And this was right after he was not at Tennessee.
So
he
this
started,
the kid from Tennessee,
yeah, right? Yeah, he was chirping the Tigers on Twitter, and Lester Quinones hopped on Twitter and told him to go back to the Capital City Go-Go's, kind of making fun that he was in the G League. And, so, well, controversy, though.
I love that. How is Lester doing in Philly, by the way?
You know what? I'll be honest.
He's a two-way guy, right?
I have not been paying attention. I'm not positive.
All right, well, Jaden, I think, has a chance to at least stick in the G League and be a pro for a little bit and maybe then go overseas with some credentials.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't get a better kid than Jaden Hardaway. I'm so happy for him. I got to give a bronze medal to Arkansas basketball.
Oh, what a scene
Did you
Friday
see
night.
what John Calipari's team did to
Incredible.
number one Kansas? Now, look, it's an exhibition game. Did Bill Self really play all his guys? Did he really play like Penny did in the first game? Penny, by the way, says tonight when they play Alabama that he's going to play with sets and take it a little more seriously because they're not scheduled to play Alabama. If they do, it would be in the tournament, right? NCAA tournament. Yep. Whereas they could play North Carolina and Maui. So I get the difference. But I don't know what Bill Self was doing with John Calipari. I know John Calipari was playing to win. And the Hogs. And did you know DJ Wagner is now a Hog?
Yeah, how about that? Several other former Kentucky Wildcats.
So he got to coach one of his players' sons.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. And so his Big Z followed him to Arkansas.
And he's got Milty's grandson.
That's right.
Because Milt was on the staff here.
That's right.
I love that. I love it. And Arkansas beats Kansas, but I mean whips them. 85-69. Again, exhibition game. We don't really know, but it makes me think that Alabama's better than Kansas, and I kind of had that suspicion anyway. And then I got to give a bronze to the Tigers football team back in the polls. They're in the coach at 25, in AP they're 27. They have now won 17 of their last 21 games. 17 of their last 21. And I don't understand it because it was a beautiful day. I know it ended up raining, but nobody knew that to start. I mean, that crowd was the last two crowds. You had a 5-1 North Texas, and you had a team that was 2-1 in Charlotte. With one of the better NILs. It's a conference game. My goodness, you'd think more people would come. They announced it at 25,000. I will be honest with you, I don't think there's more than 18 in the ballpark. And I don't know what you do. I do think there was some confusion on the $11 tickets. I think they were hard to get. You couldn't get a better deal than $11 to watch that game. That game was really a fun football game, and that 49-second comeback and the throw, Hennigan to Rock.
I'll be honest, Dave. I was telling a lot of people at that game, people I knew, my girlfriend who I was at the game with, they need to put in this Deshaun Purdy kid. I mean, I've been very high on the freshman Deshaun Purdy for Charlotte. They go to him in the second half. Yeah. He looked pretty good.
Well, he looked really good considering. Did you realize that earlier in the week he had surgery?
Really?
He had a broken bone on his right near his thumb.
No kidding.
So they had surgery on that, and he was able to come into the game in the second half and throw the football. They say he can throw 80 yards.
That's incredible.
I was asked by Corey Glore, because they play him this week, what I thought. I said, I don't know why Biff Poggi continues to play three quarterbacks and 4 running backs and 10 offensive linemen. There's no way to get continuity. And, frankly, he did some stupid things in this last game, I thought. I think he ought to get himself instead. You know who his assistant head coach is?
No, who?
It's his buddy. His name is John Jacobson, who is also a billionaire.
That's right.
Okay? Get a guy with experience.
Yeah.
At least that's been a head coach somewhere else so that you can pick their brains.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm glad that he has it that way, and Memphis is back in the polls. I give a silver medal to the Dodgers. They did what they had to. They took care of business at home. They lead to love. Now they go to Yankee Stadium, but the pressure is on the Yankees. Will Shohei be able to really play? So I don't know. We need a glossary of medical terms. A subluxation of the shoulder. What does that really mean? Is that a mild dislocation? Because if you've got a dislocation, a real dislocation, I don't think you could swing a bat for a few weeks, really. But maybe this you can. I don't know, but I heard Dave Roberts say yesterday he thinks Shohei's going to play tonight. And I got to throw in a medal anyway on Freddie Freeman. Here's what I'm still amazed at, that nobody has addressed this. Because they talk about Cortez coming in, the guy hadn't pitched in a month. Okay, that might have been a questionable move. Here's the other move that just boggles my mind. There are runners on at first and second. You've got a 3-2 lead in the game. So the tying run is at second, in scoring position. You walk Mookie. Okay, I can see you being scared of Mookie, but you walk him. By doing that, you've just put the winning run in scoring position. So why would you do that? For a play at the plate? I mean, that makes, if there were runners at second and third, yes, you do it. But it was runners at first and second. You just gave them with a base hit the game. That, to me, was a dumb move, too. So I got questions about Boone for sure on that one. But anyway, Dodgers get a silver. The Detroit Lions now 6-1 have won 5 in a row. Oh, my goodness, what they did to the Titans. 52-14. I think the last time they were in the 50s was like 97, the Lions. That's just ridiculous. Can't understand how that happened. Well, I can. First of all, the Titans throw a pick in every game, and they threw 2 in this game. And they allowed these kick returns that set up scores. That's crazy. 52-14 Lions. They get a silver. And I only give 1 gold. I give it to a team really not playing great, but is the only team now through week 8. That's because of the bye. The Kansas City Chiefs. Almost halfway through, they remain the only unbeaten team at 7-0. They take down their old rivals, the Raiders, even though they're no longer anywhere near to Oakland or L.A. or back to Oakland. Now they're in Vegas. But 27-20, Patrick Mahomes and company. Kelsey scored another touchdown, had a couple of big first downs. The Chiefs, the only undefeateds at 7-0. I give them my gold.
All right, for me, I'm going to start with my bronze. I have 2 bronze medals. I have to give them to Duke and Ole Miss. And this is to both of their basketball teams who both had exhibitions yesterday.
I watched some of the Ole Miss game.
Ooh, Ole Miss looked really good against Illinois. They were knocking down shots early.
You know what they do better than they did last year by a lot?
What's that?
Defend.
Oh, man. They were
It was
getting after
so hard for Illinois to get into any offense. I was really impressed with. If there's anything that I've seen Chris Beard change in Oxford, it's their defense.
Yeah, and it looked really good. How about this, though? I mentioned Big Big Z earlier, the transfer from he was at Kentucky last year, went to Arkansas and is now following Cal. He has a twin brother who is now a freshman at Illinois, 21-year-old freshman at Illinois. I thought he gave them some good minutes yesterday. And then Duke. I mean, these three freshmen they have. Obviously, everyone's talking about Cooper Flagg. This Con Knipple kid, I have been obsessed with ever since Countdown to Craziness. He's a shooter, but he gets after, he gets rebounds, he's a nice passer. I really like him. I think he's going to be at least a top 20 draft pick in this upcoming draft. Then they got the big center.
Who wins the Duke-Alabama game if you played it today?
Oh, man. Ask me tomorrow, Dave, and I'll let you know.
That's very fair.
I need to see Alabama tonight against the Tigers. My silver medal goes to Jameis Winston. He comes in as Cleveland's starter this weekend. After the injury last week, he gives his little quotes that he does all the time, which are fantastic. I mean, I could sit and listen to Jameis Winston speak for hours. This guy is...
he may end up an analyst one day.
He's very serious, but everything he says is funny, so it makes it great. But, Dave, you can't spell Winston without wins, and that's what he gave Cleveland yesterday, driving them down the field to beat the Baltimore Ravens. That was a lot of fun yesterday. And then I have 2 gold medals. My first one goes to Seth Hennigan, getting the touchdown record the other day against Charlotte with a game-winning touchdown pass to Rock Taylor, like you already mentioned. It was fun to watch him get that Saturday afternoon. And then my other gold has to go to Freddie Freeman with the walk-off grand slam, the first walk-off grand slam in World Series history. I was talking to somebody the other night, and they said they watched the entire game from start until the 10th inning, and it got a little late for them, and after the Yankees went up in the top of the 10th, they went to bed, missed the grand slam. They woke up the next morning like, what happened? Why is everyone talking about the Dodgers won? So Freddie Freeman, he'll go down in Dodgers lore based on that grand slam. It was awesome. It was electric, and that went right into the Rutgers USC football game. Right. So a lot of excitement Friday night with the baseball and the football right back to back.
Gosh, I'd forgotten that it was Friday night, so we hadn't talked about the Freddie. He definitely should have gotten the gold. And the other weird thing about that was how reminiscent it was of Kirk Gibson's walk-off home run, where they both raised the bat with their right hand. That was pretty
it was cool.
Unintentionally very cool, I thought for sure. All right, 2 rusts. 1, Bryant and myself. How could we go 1-9?
I'll take it. Yeah.
We've been so good. 1-9, the two of us. Terrible. And then my Bears. And it's not just because they had a cornerback named Tyreek Stevenson who was taunting the crowd before the play. When the play started, his back was to the play. It's not because that same Tyreek Stevenson, instead of batting the ball down, lofted it into the air right into the hands of the Washington Commander receiver for the winning touchdown with zeros on the clock. It was because they allowed Jaden Daniels. Do you know how long he had to throw the football? The Bears rushed 3 or 4 guys.
Okay.
Prevent defenses, prevent wins. Remember last week I gave Detroit a medal.
That's right.
Because they rushed 5 and they put pressure on the quarterback, not allowing him to set up. Jaden Daniels last night had 13 seconds to throw the football. Now, he was running around a little. 13 seconds? Rush 5 people, for goodness sake. Rust to the Chicago Bears.
That's your only rust?
Wow. I gave 2. I gave us 1.
That's right. I forgot
really
about it. I tried to wash
that
out of my head and forget about it. I have 3 rusts today, Dave. And I'm going to put them in order, actually, from the least worst to the worst.
Okay.
My first rust goes to the Commanders' defense. You basically already said it all. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You mean the Bears' defense?
Yes, the Bears' defense. Commanders got the win. You're right. The Bears' defense just ridiculous.
And we should point out, the Bears really should not have won the game anyway.
That's true.
They stole the game, but I will say this. Caleb Williams, the last couple of possessions, actually looked like a good quarterback.
Yeah.
The rest, he was awful.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. So the Bears defense gets a rust from me. AP voters gets my second rust, more important rust. Now, I do love Tigers, only a couple spots out of the AP poll. They did get into the coaches poll, like you mentioned a second ago. But Vanderbilt, they lose by 3 points to Texas. Very competitive game. They were in that game all afternoon, and as a result of that, they're out of the AP poll. Now they are at number 26. They're only 1 spot out. But I just thought you got to keep him in there somehow. I know they lost somehow, some way. You keep Vanderbilt in the top 25.
And you know what? We're going to talk about that with John Thompson coming up in just a couple of minutes. Do you know how many total points in 3 losses now the Commodores have lost by?
10, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I knew
10.
it was 7 and then 3.
They are really a good football team.
They're playing really well.
And now I do think between the chances with Auburn and South Carolina, I think they're going to become bowl eligible. They sure should.
That'd be fantastic. And then we'd have the conversation of maybe them coming here for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, which would be
love for them
fantastic.
to come here.
Yeah, I'd love that. My final rust and the biggest rust of them all does not go to the Dallas Cowboys, Dave. It does not go to McCarthy. It probably should. It goes to Dak Prescott. You know, and honestly, it shouldn't go to Dak Prescott because it's not his fault. He wasn't the one. He didn't force a gun to anybody's head and say, give me all this money. They gave it to him. It was their choice. This guy does not deserve all that money, Dave. He is not a good quarterback. I can't stand Dak.
So that should be Jerry Jones who you're giving that.
No, it goes to Dak. Because you know what, Dave? I don't have to watch Jerry Jones in the booth the whole game. I have to watch Dak Prescott on the field all
but
game.
Jerry Jones is the guy that paid him, and now they're stuck with him.
That's true. But again, I have to watch Dak every single game. I get so frustrated. I mean, some of the throws he makes, Dave, are just ridiculous. He's either short on them, he's throwing in double coverage. I mean, he's a fine quarterback, not a good quarterback for all that money.
I can't disagree with that. Those are our medals. They are good and bad. They're brought to you in part by the good folks at Grind City and their newest. It's called Gator Patrol, a tangerine cream sour. So this is sweet, tart, and refreshing. It's a fruited sour, and then it's perfectly balanced by just this subtle hint of cream. So if you like the sours or you like the creams, you got the combination with Gator Patrol. It's the newest from Grind City. And this portion of our show is also brought to you by Southern Security. Are you getting the best possible rate on your mortgage at Southern Security? They're going to offer you low rates, flexible terms, no PMI, and of course, unbeatable service. You can refinance your current mortgage with the Mid-South's best mortgage leader. For more info, visit online, southernsecurity.org, or here's the best part, because I like this, old school that I am, talk to a human being. You can call the office at 452-7900. Southern Security is an equal housing lender, and they're proud supporters of the Memphis Athletics, and Southern Security is also proud of 901 Women. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. We pause for a second. We head to Atlanta. Our coach, John Thompson, is standing by. We talk college football, in particular the SEC, in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It doesn't matter what time of year it is, it's always the right time to visit Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar. Bell Tavern is right off Deacon Alley, right at the very center of downtown, but Bell Tavern doesn't have the hurried atmosphere of a lot of places downtown. Bell Tavern is laid back, comfortable, and has hands down the coldest beer and best cocktails anywhere, not just downtown. We say it all the time, you could go to a chain bar if that's what you like, but once you visit Bell Tavern, you'll never go to a chain bar again.
What a great time of year. Football, basketball, baseball, golf, and home sales. Home sales? This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Ben Swarf Realtors. And why did I throw in home sales at this time of year? Because I have sold homes on the day before Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Day. Whether it's someone transferring in through a relocation network or someone just starting their home search, homes sell all year long, just like my golf game being bad all year long. I may be called Mr. Three-Putt, but at least I'm consistent. If you or someone you know is thinking of selling, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I'm one of them. Find out how my highly successful strategic marketing program can get the winning score you need. Call me and find out why people often say when you want the job done, oh, Shell done. 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Go for that goal and call me. Shell Dunn at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
I got him on the line right now, Marty McNade over at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's happening, dude?
I'm going back in time, Randy, with 0% for 60 months on all 2024 Tiguan's. When's the last time you've heard that?
It's been a while, Marty. Hey, what else you got?
I've got all Peak Edition Atlases at $5,000 off MSRP.
That's awesome. Every Peak Edition Atlas, $5,000 off MSRP.
Or take your pick from 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month.
2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month. Great Scott McNade, you do got it going on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
As for me, Marty McNade at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and remember, your future is what you make of it.
Get out here and see us, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online, GossipVWG.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I got to give myself a rust now. I got an explanation. Remember, I was talking about Aaron Boone and putting the winning run in scoring position. Apparently, and Eli looked this up, so I thank him, but nobody kind of remembered it. But this is why Aaron Boone wasn't ripped for it, was when Shohei hit the ball and it's caught and the outfielder goes into the stands, that's an automatic movement of the players up to second and third. When he walked Mookie, he loaded the bases to get the force, but there were already runners at second and third. That makes perfect sense. So there you go. Let's talk some football. Let's talk with our coach down in Atlanta. That is John Thompson. Good morning. How are you doing? We missed you last
I'm doing
week.
great. Good morning to you. Yeah, you come on now. Be careful about getting on those coaches and managers, man. Come on.
Oh, that's
Boone
true.
knew what he was doing.
He did.
So no, doing great down here, man. Doing great.
All right, let's talk. Let's start with some football games from this past weekend that were really interesting. I want to start with Vandy in Texas because Texas gets embarrassed by Georgia, and are they thinking maybe we should have stayed in the Big 12? Maybe Oklahoma's thinking the same thing, and then they come and you figure, okay, Sarkisian, and then they got to make a point. That was a bad game. They're going to bounce back, and they're going to beat the heck out of Vandy. That certainly was not the case. I'm telling you, Vanderbilt is really a good football team. They beat a Virginia Tech team that is showing you they're not very bad. The 3 losses that they've had, they're by a total of 10 points. This Vanderbilt team, I think, Coach, is pretty good.
I think they're a real solid team. They expect to win instead of hope to win. Obviously it all starts with their quarterback, but you know what? They're doing some things on offense. Just ask Alabama. They're running a triple option with motions, shifts. It's a form of, RPO, and they give it. They're really tough on defense. Tough on a defense. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get a guy out of position, and they're going to make you pay for it. And they're getting better on defense. I thought Vandy's D-line whipped Texas' offensive line. I
agree.
That's, and you go back and everything that, people are a little bit surprised, but they're gaining more and more credibility. They made Alabama look bad. They gave up 40-something points, Alabama's defense. But You know, when you got a quarterback like Pavia and the way his aura and he kind of reminds me of the swagger of a Brett Favre. You know, you just think you're going to win with that cat every time that you go out. And Texas, you got to give Texas a little credit. That was a good bounce back game for them, but going to Vandy ain't like it used to be, Wolo.
No.
It is a tough thing. Tough thing.
That kid Pavia, you talk about tough. I mean,
oh yeah,
he never
no
gets
doubt.
rattled. I am so impressed with him. Not as impressed with Ole Miss. I thought they would stomp Oklahoma. They were 20-point favorites in that game. They were behind at the half, 26-14.
Yep.
They do make adjustments in the second half, get the offense going. They're I guess now ranked 18th or 19th in the country. Is that right? Do you think that's where they should be?
You know, I'm with you. That was a boring game. I kept flipping, and I've had 2 or 3 going at the same time, the way they can do it now. But, OU's just not very good on offense at all. But Ole Miss is better on defense than they've been in years. They are. They had 9 sacks. They held them to less than 100 yards. Held OU to less than 100 yards in the second half. I mean, it's still Oklahoma. But they're a hard team to figure out. Dart's playing well. You know, he's not turning it over. He still missed some throws, but I think we don't have to hold our breath too long about the Rebels. We're going to find out these next 2 weeks. Going to Fayetteville and playing a who knows Arkansas team. If they can put up 600 yards on you, or they can lay an egg, and then they got Georgia coming to Rebel Land, so we'll find out about Ole Miss, and obviously, and I think you want to talk about the playoffs. We'll find out if Ole Miss is going to get in the playoffs with those next 2 games, I think.
Well, Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite at Arkansas. I'm amazed at what Sam Pittman has been able to do, because everybody had him penciled out of there in Week 6, and here they are going to Week 10. And, they're certainly going to be bowl eligible, and they had a tough schedule. And then,
they did. The quarterback, Green, reminds me so much of Matt Jones. I mean, he's long, he's lanky, he looks fast. Matt did not look fast, but when you got a quarterback like that can eat it up with his legs and then throwing it, and Petrino's a good coach. He's whether you like him or not personally, the guy can move the football. So Arkansas, that's going to be a fun game to watch this Saturday.
I agree. And then you've got I want to talk about Missouri and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Alabama looked like Alabama. Missouri loses their quarterback, second week in a row that Cook has gotten hurt. When they don't have him, they are not the same team. This was total domination.
No, a totally different team. And, bless his heart, Pine that came in, he's not it. He's not it right now. He may get better, but he throws, his first throw was an interception, and they couldn't do it. But then Alabama turned to the running game. I mean, had over 200 yards rushing in the second half. And, I think a guy that's really starting to raise his head a little bit that you don't hear much about that is a dominant player is Justice Haynes, the running back. And I've known, and I keep up with him. I've known Justice since he was in probably the 6th grade. I'll tell you an interesting, quick story about him.
Sure.
When Alabama was recruiting him, I was talking to one of their coaches, and Justice is a volatile guy. He plays that way. His personality. He's a great kid. Great kid. His dad played at Georgia. But he is a great kid. But I asked one of their coaches, and I said, hey, Justice's blood runs a little hot. How are you guys going to deal with that? And he looked at me and said, man, we don't worry about that. He said, our locker room takes care of all that. And it just kind of blew me away. This is probably 2 years ago. Saban was still there. That said so much about their culture. And maybe they still have it. I'm not sure. They got a lot of change over there, but that was the culture that they weren't worried about anything because their locker room would take care of it. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And then I thought Alabama's offensive line really rose up and just manhandled Missouri in the second half. Totally manhandled them. And then their defense had 5 3-and-outs. You do that, man. That's discouraging to the play caller, to the defense, to everybody. You're out there 3 plays and punt, 3 plays and punt. You don't score points like that. So it was a good shutout for Kane Womack and the Roll Tiders.
All right, let's talk about how these playoffs are going to go. And
yeah,
I was reading the ESPN forecast, and they're pretty smart people that go into their prognostication.
Yeah, but they're not Dave Wolotion. Let's just call it like it is.
That is correct. They got the SEC getting 4, and if I recall correctly, it's Texas A&M, the only undefeated team in the league by the league. Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. I don't have an argument really at this point with that. At this point, the Big Ten also has 4, so that's 8 of the 12. And the Big Ten has Indiana, Oregon, Penn State. They're all undefeated, and Ohio State. Those are those 4 teams. The ACC has 2, Miami and Clemson. And the Big 12 has 1, with the group of 5, Boise being the team at the moment. And the group of 5 is going to get 1 in. Now, you're telling me the Big 12, only getting 1. They've got undefeated BYU, undefeated Iowa State, 1-loss Kansas State. Kansas State and Iowa State are going to play each other. They could all, if K-State wins that, there's 2 1-loss teams. You're telling me only 1 of those teams is going to get in? I contend to you, and I don't know which is going to be the league that will only get 3. One league, the Big Ten or the SEC, is going to get 4. The other's going to get 3. The ACC and the Big 12 are going to get 2, and the group of 5 is going to get 1. And that's going to really make Greg Sankey mad.
I think it is going to make Sankey mad. But you know what? It's just created so much more. What a great thing. I remember years ago you and I used to discuss this. I was always for 8 and you were 10, or maybe I wanted 10 and you wanted 8. But anyway, this is a great one. In the SEC, I'm not sure you can count Bama out yet. I'm really not. You got Georgia, you got Texas, you got Tennessee. I think those 3 are in. Now the other 3.
What are you doing with A&M? A 1-loss team?
Well, A&M, Bama, and even Ole Miss. Ole Miss can get in there. I don't think there's no way you're going to get 5, but you could have it there. I don't think it'll happen. The place would blow up if the SEC got 5. But you know what? I mean, really? And I know where we live and I know where we are, but do you really care about Iowa or Kansas State or BYU? I understand that. I get it.
But that's here. Let me tell you something. I grew up in Chicago. People cared about the Big Ten. They didn't think the SEC was any good.
Yeah. Hey, they sell cotton candy, and you get on the Ferris wheel at the fair. We're not talking about fair. We're not talking about fair. I didn't say that. But we're talking about the best teams. Again, just like we've been talking about for the last years and years and years. The best. You don't think BYU... You think BYU could beat Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee?
They might.
A&M?
They absolutely might. I think, look, Notre Dame got beat by Northern Illinois, for goodness sake. Come on. It can happen.
Yeah, no, and neither one of those are going to be in the playoffs.
Well, I don't know. Notre Dame, man.
I know.
All right.
No.
So let me tell you why A&M should be in your list. Here's who they play still. They go to South Carolina. I don't know, but I don't think South Carolina is going to beat them. Maybe it's a home game. New Mexico State, that's a W. They go to Auburn. I don't think Auburn's going to beat them, although Auburn showed something this past weekend. And then they play Texas. If they win until they get to Texas, both those teams are probably going to be in.
No, I agree. Totally. But I don't know if Texas loses again. That's where it's going to come. When you lose again, when you get that second loss again, that's what's gonna hit you right between the eyes. If that late loss is gonna change everything. If
That
you
you can't
lose
make up.
early, if you lose early, you got a shot. But I mean, that's where Ole Miss beats Georgia. They beat Arkansas, and then they beat Georgia. They probably getting in.
Oh, I agree. But if Georgia beats them, that's the end of them. Georgia's got to play Tennessee, too.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Georgia could knock both of those out with those two losses. Then you got Georgia, Texas, and then you might slip those big red elephants in there. I know you don't like to hear that, but I mean, they may be. They're getting better. I don't think they're a great team. Not like they've been. I think there's too much transition, and I don't think they're near as good on defense as they've been. They just don't have they don't have the toughness, I don't think, on defense. And that's I shouldn't say that because I don't know that. I'm watching the television, and you can't tell about toughness too. You got to put the tape on and run it back and forth and see who's turning the shoulder, who's turning it down, and who's running to it and who's running from it. But I just don't think Alabama is as tough as they have been.
So they got a bye week this week. Then they've got to play LSU in Baton Rouge. And, I don't know if LSU lost everything in that game with A&M or the momentum, whatever you want to call it, but we'll see because that becomes a critical game for Alabama. They got to beat LSU. Then they got Mercer. They got Oklahoma and Norman, which we know Oklahoma's not really as good a football team. And I think we knew that going in, as they have been in the past. And then, of course, they got the Iron Bowl. Who knows with that?
I know they got their quarterback. I'm talking about Auburn's quarterback. A&M's, playing well at or playing well at quarterback. So it's just going to be hard to say. It's going to be hard to tell what's going on.
Well, we got plenty.
It's fun, man. We're almost in November. That's when it should be. That's when it should. And hey, what about Vandy getting in there? Why not? No, I'm just kidding. But Vandy's a legit.
They need
Barkley is legit.
They need one more win to be bowl eligible, and I say bring them to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. They got to either beat Auburn this week, South Carolina at home the week after that. That it's tough. LSU in Baton Rouge and then Tennessee in Nashville. So they got to win one of the next two games. If they do that, it's a great year for Clark Lee and the guys. As always,
they're 5-2 right now.
Yeah,
right? 5-2. Yep. Okay.
5-3.
5-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta win one. It could have happened this week. They would have been 6-2. Holy smokes! Anyway, John, thank you much. Good luck to you with your team on the weekend, and we shall chat on Monday.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Dave.
Me too. That's our coach down in Atlanta. That is John Thompson. Brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Company. You know all about Matt Eflin and his team, and they are a team, and they get together and they want to make you part of their team. That's how they do this. They sit you down and get to know you. They'll talk with you about what's important. They check your finances. They figure out a budget, and then they will protect your car, your home, and your future with life insurance. They do it all. Same thing with small to mid-sized businesses. They will absolutely sit you down, learn about your product, find out about your employees, figure out your budget, and then they find protection with the perfect commercial insurance. It's the Eflin Insurance team. They get to know you. They collaborate with you, and then they protect you. We're back in a minute. We head to Tampa. TJ Reeves is right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
All 24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE8 34,938, MSRP 22,615, Telluride RG56 3000, MSRP 40,805, Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, are you ready to give the Mid-South your best deal ever at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah?
I'm always ready, Randy. Gas prices got you down? How about 41 MPG highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS at $233.86 a month? $34.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sport is $269 per month. $34.99 do it signing. And get ready for the holidays and hit the road in a 2024 Kia Telluride S, $408.62 per month. $39.99 do it signing. All 24 month lease.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online anytime at KiaMountMoriah.com.
Breaking news. Chandler Martin, American Athletic Conference Player of the Week on the defensive side. It is the third time this year that the redshirt junior, which means he can come back next year, that Chandler Martin wins that award. I don't know. I hadn't seen if Mario Anderson got any kind of a look. He had 32 carries, which, by the way, was the most since 2015, 141 yards and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches for 25 yards. So you're talking about 166 total yards, a really good week for Mario Anderson. I'm not sure he got any kind of recognition, but Chandler Martin did, and that's a great story. I can't wait to, the fact that he's going to spearhead the D again next year, that is a real positive for the University of Memphis. Let's head down to Tampa. Our friend TJ Reeves is standing by, and we have to start off with the saddest of news. We know how tough it has been for those in Tampa and USF because of Hurricane Milton. And then the news, stunning earlier in the middle of last week or late last week, where the Bulls head coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, who had totally turned the program around, got them their most wins with 25, got them their first regular season championship in this particular conference, the American, passed away during a medical procedure at the age of 43. I know for all of us outside of Tampa, that news was stunning. What was that like for you guys down there? Did you know he was as ill as he was? Good morning, TJ.
Yeah, good morning, and just awful. No, we did not know. No one knew. They were keeping this secret on the eve of the season, and it was so serious that his mentor, who was his former head coach at Georgia while he was an assistant before he got the Kennesaw State job, Tom Crean, who's now an ESPN TV analyst and obviously the former Marquette coach and the former Indiana coach.
And
Tom Crean and his
coach.
wife. Right, and the Georgia coach, and that's where Amir Abdur-Rahim was with him as an assistant. And Tom Crean and his wife were with Amir Abdur-Rahim's wife on Thursday in what I am told was a life-saving attempt to try to save his life with the surgery that they were having, and it was unsuccessful. So just a horrible situation with this. You can't say enough about what this guy had meant in just a year and a half to turning the culture around, the winning, the attitude, to a person in that athletic department and around dealing with him. They all said the same thing. What an amazing guy. No wonder his teams have been succeeding at Kennesaw State and South Florida. You want to play for this guy. You want to play hard for this guy. You want to work hard day to day to get better. And now to have this happen after the season they had a year ago, I know they had lost 2 or 3 of those players of the transfer portal, but he had brought a couple new guys in. There's a lot of expectation. And I am told he had not been around the team in the last couple of weeks. He was that ill. And now somehow they have to overcome this devastating situation where the coach has died, is gone, and a season's about to start. Wolo, they're to open a week from tonight in Jacksonville against the University of Florida. They were supposed to play an exhibition game. I say supposed to, midweek this week. I don't know how they play that game. I don't know that game's going to be played. They're going to have a memorial service for him in the Yuengling Center, what is now, that's what it's called, what was the Sun Dome, on Saturday, open to the public, which that place is going to be full, guaranteed, because of what he meant. Just an awful, awful situation. On top of everything else, like you mentioned, to have that news just completely out of the blue last Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. No one in this market knew. No one in the media knew. Nobody knew. They kept it that private.
Just so you know, folks, he did turn the program, and I mentioned what he did there, and they had people at the Yuengling Center for the first time since you were their play-by-play announcer and Seth Greenberg was the coach. This guy had brought Kennesaw State for the first time ever to the NCAA tournament, so he turned that culture around. He was
They won one game his first year at Kennesaw State. His third year, they won 27 games and won an NCAA tournament game.
I know, crazy.
So,
and he's the guy, by the way, for Tom Crean, the lead recruiter to get Anthony Edwards.
That's correct.
The great NBA player with Minnesota
correct.
now. He's the guy that brought him to Georgia. So this was amazing. Now, who at this last second is going to become the interim coach? Do you have any idea?
So they have 3 coaches on the staff, none of whom have head coaching experience, but a couple of them have serious SEC or ACC assistant coaching experience, and I believe it's Ben Fletcher is his associate head coach. I don't know this, but you're probably elevating one of them temporarily right now to be the head coach with the A lot of this is just unknown. Right now, while we sit here on Monday morning, they haven't announced what they're doing. They haven't announced the exhibition game is supposed to be Wednesday night. I would have to think they're going to say that's off, and the memorial service is the next thing, and then the opener again is next Monday night. So for South Florida's basketball, again, their streak was in progress when they came to Memphis on that frozen January night and somehow escaped and won that game, and then they proceeded to win 12 more games in a row after that. It was a 17-game win streak, program record. Awful circumstance.
They are picked third in the American and the Pre. They lost that kid Pryor, who was their center.
Correct.
He went to Louisville. They lost a kid that I'm going to see tonight.
Youngblood.
Youngblood, who was the co-player of the year in the American. They lost him to Alabama. Now, I'm not sure if he's playing tonight either. Somebody said he's in a boot till December. I don't know that for a fact, but
well, they lost Youngblood. They lost Youngblood to Alabama for the 3 letters NIL.
Oh yeah.
He reportedly got a 7-figure deal to come to Alabama. So that's a whole different conversation when we have a longer amount of time about how that part works. But
you know what I'm told now? I'm told that if you are in the championship conversation, that your team budget is $10 million.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Wild West. We have lived long enough that we essentially have amateurism out the door and who can pay the most in college free agency for players. That's basically what it is. So, but that's another topic for another show.
Well, think about this. Alabama, let me just tell you, the team I'm going to watch tonight, they have 6 1,000-plus point scorers. None of them all at Alabama, but they've all transferred. They have 3 McDonald's All-Americans. One's a sophomore, 2 are freshmen. They have 1 Gatorade Player of the Year that is a freshman. They have 1 kid that was at one time the number 1 player of his class. He was on the United States U16 team. He's like their 12th guy. I mean, Lord knows if they must be at the $10 million mark. All right, we both had Heartbreak yesterday. Your Hail Mary that you tried didn't happen. The Hail Mary against my team stupidly did happen.
My friend, it was a tough day for the Bucks and the orange creamsicle outfits, and we take the loss, but it's nothing compared to your Bears.
Ugh.
Because, my friend, that's an all-timer. Never mind the fact that you handed the ball to an offensive lineman to fumble on the 1-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know what
you
they were
now
thinking.
have that play where you've got this defensive back, Tyreek Stevenson, on video. Multiple fans have the video, and it put it all over the internet of him mugging with the Bear fans in the corner of that end zone, taunting everybody while the play's going on.
Yeah,
and
his
he's
back
the
was
guy
to the
that
play.
tips the ball. He tips the ball.
Up. He tipped it up. He could have knocked it down. His back was to the line of scrimmage when the play began.
Yes.
He's apologized. I don't know if Bear fans will ever forgive him, but he's apologized. Look, here's the only good thing. It was Game 7. That's the only thing I can say.
The only thing I know is in that town, which you know, these are the kind of things that get the coach fired. I don't know what they're going to do or not, but in New York and Chicago, Philadelphia, those kind of markets, those kind of things get you fired.
Let me just say
So,
this. They're
am I?
They're 4-3. He's a defensive guy, so there is some blame there. He didn't make the call on the O-lineman, and that exchange between Caleb Williams and the O-lineman never really happened.
Keystone Cop. Keystone Cop. What are you doing handing it to him anyway?
Now maybe he I don't know if the OC is going to live for a few more weeks.
Right.
But I don't think Eberflus is going to go over this. And keep in mind, Game 7 of 17, they're 4-3. Here's the worst part. That could have been a major W. Should have been a major W. You're 5-2, and now all of a sudden you're thinking about making the playoffs. Now there's doubt.
Craziness, and you're going to talk about that game for 25 more years. Whether you're a Commanders fan or a Bears fan,
I'm not.
It's going to be shown over and over and over again. Infamy on that. Welcome to Pro Sports.
I've already got one of those from 2008. I don't need another one of those.
I know. Hey, the good news is, and I did hear you, great job, you and Jarvo, on the Tigers and the win over Charlotte. So at least we have that commonality that the Tiger football program is now, 7-1 with 4 to go, still in the thick of it for the American Conference title game. We like that. There's a little optimism to end the segment on a Monday.
That's right. The goals are still there. We end with that optimism, but we also end with sadness because this is the last of our regularly scheduled conversations
Convos.
for a little bit.
Yes.
Because now you make the big money I can't match with Bet USA.
Thank you. BetUS TV, once again, apparently can't find anybody else, and so they've decided they're going to utilize me for college basketball Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 Central, which is Wolo's show.
Yeah.
But you know what? We'll try to make a way to make it work if something crazy is happening with the Buccaneers or college basketball.
And
we'll try to make it work. But I'm doing that Monday through Friday for them. Thank you for the plug, my friend.
We will pick it up after basketball season is over. We'll talk to you between now and then. Thank you so much, TJ. We appreciate it.
Always great to be with you.
You got it. That's
Hang in
TJ
there.
Reeves, our friend down in Tampa. He's brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Weekend's over. Time to stock up. Go see Eddie. That's Eddie Connor right there at 4848 Poplar. It's Poplar and St. Nick, right down from Clark Tower, that little log cabin. You've passed it by a million times. What you got in there is a lot of product. It looks small. There's tons in there, and there's valuable bourbon. There's up-and-coming tequila. There's the newest gin. There's a vodka that he can tell you exactly why it's priced the way it is. You get an education, and you'll find out about the new bargains that may be coming up with wine. He's got beer. Every one of the local beers, he's got it. Any accessory. You want a rim, a dry rub for a rim, he's got that. Anything that has to do with spirit, Eddie Connor's got it right in the heart of East Memphis. Go tell them we sent you to the Spirit Shop. That'll do it for us. I'll see you bright and early. Maybe I'll see you on the radio tonight from Huntsville when the Tigers take on Alabama. Have a great day, everybody. Johnny Radio is next.